Cinema from day one, from the time that it was first shown, is essentially about what? It's about engrossing narrative.
Cinema has changed. The way they're looking at women has changed. What women used to do then and what women do now are two different things.
I've been wanting to work with her for quite some time.
She's quite good looking as well. She's very good looking.
Oh God. I mean, what more do you want me to say to her face? Yeah.
So what was the more better incentive, the work that she's done or the looks?
I'll have to think really hard on that.
We have two of the finest actors in Bollywood and both of them are National Award winners, Farooq Sheikh and Sarika. Huge honor to have you on Bollywood Hungama first of all.
Pleasure, pleasure.
They're part of a film called Club 60 which is coming up. Please tell us something about the film because from what I've read about the film, it's not a usual take on senior citizens. It's like you guys are actually having a lot of fun and it's like, please tell us something about the film.
Me or the lady first?
Both, whoever wants to talk
lady
about.
first.
Actually, you should be talking first because he's more part of the club. He goes there, you see. Right. So I think that's his track.
You see, essentially it's about what you do at whatever age you are. That's the theme of the film. Numerical quantity of the age has very little to do with your lifestyle. If you're physically mobile and mentally active, then you can be whatever you want to be. And that is really what the film is trying to say. Also, in today's time and age, the 60 of 2012 is probably the 40 of maybe 20 years ago. So you don't really quote unquote retire because you have reached 60. Or because you have crossed 60. So the whatever kind of what we popularly call joie de vivre continues to exist inside you, regardless of what your date of birth says. And that's really what the film is about.
And apparently you guys are indulging in a lot of abuses as well, and you guys talk about sex and bitching and all that stuff happens as well.
I don't.
You don't?
Neither does she.
Okay.
Some other characters might.
There are Shara Saxena, Tinu Anand and Raghuveer Yadav, Satish Shah, few of the other actors who are part of the film. Okay, so what exactly are you doing in the film, ma'am?
I'm a doctor, so is he. We are a couple and we have just shifted cities and we've come to a new city and there is something in the film and something happens and how we are dealing with it or trying to learn a new way of living life. I can't go more in this because then I'll be telling you the story, but it's basically how they're trying to sort of live life in a new way.
Another aspect of it is how Sarika ji's character is really the hub of the relationship. How she holds the relationship and their life together. That is also an important aspect because whatever happens in the film is affecting the man more than it is affecting the lady because she is the stronger, the more mature, the more sensible of the two.
Script has become the hero and there are movies like Vicky Donor and Kahani and good films, good script necessarily need not be having big stars. They are doing well at the box office, they are being appreciated by all and sundry. In that context, do you think that people are primarily looking for good films, good cinema and good scripts rather than just big stars?
Yeah, I think so. They are looking for good scripts. I think they are looking for good scripts for a very long time. We are the ones who were not giving it to them. They are ready for a long time, you know. But somewhere we were stuck in that kind of understanding that, oh, they want entertainment. Let's not get serious with them, you know. The minute some of the directors and filmmakers decided to do that, if you see the reaction, be it Pan Singh Tomar or Vicky Donor, look at the kind of, you know, how varied the films are. How ready they have been. It's not that they have just been ready about, you know, I think for about 2-3 years they are ready. So fortunately, never mind, I mean, it's late, but it's happening.
You've had a Parzania, you've won a national award for that. Do you at times wonder maybe that films like that could have been maybe presented differently in terms of a release and could have reached
but it's
to
not
much
in our
more
control. We wanted it to release differently, but the point is that it's not what we want. There was a very huge film which released with Parzania, which they had booked 5 shows in a day. Like there are 6 hall screens, out of which 5 shows are gone in all 6 screens. So we had one 9:30 show in the morning and a 10:45 in the night. So we didn't want that. We wanted at least one show where people could actually come and see the film, but that didn't happen. So those things I think are sometimes, you know, it's not in your control. I think personally you should have a theatre dedicated only to these kind of films.
Right.
A theatre where if a big film comes, you say we don't want you. You know, because we need more exposure.
But do you feel that at times maybe movies like Parzania, you could have proper online release maybe because these days it has happened in fact and
no,
legitimate
it's not that. Online release is a different situation. The first thing a filmmaker wants is to release his film in a theatre.
Right.
Films basically should be seen in the theatre. For some reason, if you can't screen them in a theatre, is when you start looking at alternate.
What about a re-release of Parzania because it is as relevant?
Oh, I wish they would do that. That would be brilliant because so many people have not seen it. And this time we can make sure when there is no big film coming, we can come in that week and take all the 5 shows.
Same with Lahore, I think, very fun performance. You got a national award for that. Maybe it could have been promoted differently and...
See, essentially what is happening is nobody wants to bell the cat. Cinema from day one, from the time that it was first shown, is essentially about what? It's about engrossing narrative. It does not matter what the age factor of your main protagonist is or isn't. You can make a film on a little child and it can be very engrossing. You can make a film on a very old man and it can be very engrossing. The best portions of Mother India are after Nargis ji is past her prime in the film. Similarly, so many other films that we can point out. It is essentially about an engrossing narrative. And it is not a day too early that filmmakers are being made to realize that if you have something good to say and you know how to say it well enough, the audience is only too ready and only too happy to accept it. But if you don't give them the opportunity, like Sarika ji was saying, you have 6 screens in which you give, the most remote and the most unreachable slot to a film that deserves much better. So you're making sure that that film doesn't get seen. Essentially what you're doing is that. The audience, and I have attended at least 2 shows of Parzania, and the audience comes out overwhelmed, as indeed did I. You can't forget the film. And it is a great pity that we are not seeing any chance of Parzania being released in a regular manner in the near future. Because we like to see such films and we want to see such films. But you have to give the audience the opportunity. अगर आप दुकान में वो सामान ही नहीं रखेंगे तो खरीदने वाला खरीदेगा क्या? जो आपने रखा है उसको खरीदेगा, फिर खरीदने के बाद चाहे उसको कोसे चाहे उसको सराहे, खरीदेगा वही जो आपने रखा है दुकान में.
At times do you wonder that in the prime of your youth you had roles like Satya Pe Satta, it was like a bit role, or you had anglicized roles, someone who was a maybe physically desirable woman in fact.
She is even now?
She's even now.
Why are you being apologetic about it?
No, in the sense like last 10 years for that matter, the kind of cinema that you're doing, suddenly people have discovered altogether different side to you as an actress in fact.
No. I think you are unnecessarily giving me importance. It's not about me. Cinema has changed. The way they're looking at women has changed. What women used to do then and what women do now are 2 different things. So it is not one person, it is the whole industry, the way they are making film has changed. Earlier you had women doing only 4 roles. It was the lover, the mother, the sister and the item girl. Today one woman does everything.
Sure.
Or does none of them. You see? So the times have changed. It is not like that. Women, why women? Even men for that matter. People doing light scenes and then you had the bad guy and then you had the hero.
Okay, Chashme Maddoor is being remade. David Dhawan is remaking it. Your role is being done by Ali Zafar. Does it flatter you that a movie that you did 25 years back and it's still remembered and people remember it so fondly? Chamko, Miss Chamko, and aapke jo sare dialogues the interactions between you and Ravi Baswani and all you guys are still remembered.
Let me tell you something without being unduly modest. Whatever merit exists in that film exists because of what Sai wrote and How Sai made it. Had it been somebody other than Farooq Sheikh and Ravi Baswani and Rakesh Bedi doing it, or even Deepti ji doing it, the film would still have done as well. Because what Sai had to say and the manner in which she could manage to say it was completely different from what anything else was on display at that time. And if David Saab can manage to get that kind of a spirit, I don't know what the script is like, whether he's kept the exact same script or whether he's changed it, whether he's updated it in the same mold or he's changed the mold, I don't know what it is like. But if he can manage to do that, I think he's got a winner on his hands.
Farooq Saab, even then when you were doing your cinema, your films were entertaining. Like a Katha was, I think, a very, very entertaining film in fact. And same with Chashme Maddoor, so many others. You did many films which were entertaining at the same time thought-provoking. अगर देखा जाए तो आज भी आप शायद वही कह रहे हैं that you're still trying to do the similar sort of stuff in terms of script, that it is still paramount. You do wonder that ये जो demarcations बना दिए जाते हैं art cinema and commercial cinema and these things, ये सिर्फ figment of imagination है, ये सिर्फ बनाए
These are actually sir labels of convenience.
जी.
And labels of convenience invented by the media for their own convenience. Is anybody going to stand up and say that there was no art in Mr. Manmohan Desai's films? There was several kinds of art in every department. Or that there is no commerce in the late Mr. Satyajit Ray's films. Ray Saab was not admitting anybody free into the auditorium. He was charging for a ticket, which is what Manmohan Desai was doing too. And then there was the art of cinematography, there was the art of storytelling, editing, makeup, histrionics, whatever, in both the films. So this was completely, a convenient label invented by the media. It's just that what is it that you want to offer in lieu of the ticket that the spectator buys? I may offer something that is completely different from what somebody else might offer. What I offer depends on my own sensibilities and my own resource. and the same would prevail for somebody else.
You're having actors like Satish Shah and Raghuveer Yadav, I think, who's a fantastic actor, in fact. So please tell us something about your star cast.
Work really has started only yesterday, and today is the second day. So it's difficult to say this to her face, but I've been a huge admirer of Sarika ji's work for some time now. And whilst I knew her very casually earlier, and we were like on a "How are you, Sarika ji? How are you, Farooq Saab" basis. But I've been wanting to work with her for quite some time.
She's quite good looking as well. She's very good looking.
Oh God. I mean, what more do you want me to say to her face? Yeah.
So what was the better incentive, the work that she's done or the looks?
I'll have to think really hard on that.
Please be honest.
They're both very tempting aspects of her personality.
Sure.
But when we read the role, and everybody suggested, oh, we should have Sarika ji for this. But the producer-director was a little reticent about whether she would accept it or not, because we know that she is selective about the kind of work she does, and she doesn't need to grab everything that is offered to her. So we were a little apprehensive about, हाँ कहेंगी, ना कहेंगी, घर से बाहर निकाल देंगी, क्या होगा? But when they went and met her, she liked it, and we are all thrilled that she did.